Now, welcome to the niche selection. So this is going to be the second video of the YouTube series walking through exactly how to start your AI agency. I'm going to be covering what a niche is, okay? And that's what we're going to start off with. So, what is a niche? Now, a niche is essentially a market and a specific group of people that you are going to be targeting and going after for your business. A lot of people, what they do and what they get wrong is they'll go after everybody, any business. And the problem with that is most businesses don't make money that way. They make money working with a specific market, targeting a specific audience. So I'm going to give you 3 categories. I'm going to list some examples under those categories. The first is going to be home services. Okay, it's going to be the first category. The second is going to be professionals. I think there's 2 S's in there, professionals. Okay, and then the third is going to be coaches, consultants, whatever, right? So these are the 3 categories of the niches that you can target, especially when it comes to selling AI agents and AI marketing and AI systems and all of that, okay? Now, for home services, what you have under home services is you have plumbers, electricians, roofers, etc., okay? You get it. So home service, and I'm going to list the pros and cons of each, okay? So that's going to be for home services. Now professionals could be lawyers, doctors, dentists, okay? That's going to be for professionals. And then for coaches and consultants, obviously you're going to have like agency owners, and then coaches and consultants. So we've identified what a niche is. It's a market, it's a type of people, it's a specific niche or a group in a business. Now, here are going to be some of the pros and cons. So home services, in my opinion, is the best to go after, okay? It is a group of people who are an older audience, and it's usually a much higher income bracket. There's a couple of things that you're going to look into when you're deciding your niche, and I'm going to break that down, but these are some of the pros and cons. So home services, plumbers, electricians, roofers, etc. You have a lot of older people who don't understand technology, okay? They have businesses, they're making money, and quite a lot of money, but they just don't have the knowledge in order to learn the AI technologies or the AI systems, or they just don't want to, they prefer not to. Now for the professionals, lawyers, doctors, dentists, the good things about these guys is they have a lot of money. They have a lot of money, and they are going to pay you. They are going to invest in people and help. But the problem is breaking into this market. It's a very sophisticated, a very professional market. So that's something to keep in mind. Now for coaches and consultants, the problem with these guys is most of the time they're very low leverage and they're very broke. Coaches and consultants and agency owners typically are very tech savvy. They understand AI, they understand marketing. They're usually a glorified contractor in their own business. So they usually have to do everything when it comes to editing, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to creating funnels. So these are honestly, this is the worst market. I wouldn't go after coaches and consultants. Professionals, if you have any sort of personal connections or background to people, lawyers, doctors, dentists, or maybe you studied, or maybe you were a lawyer, doctor, dentist, then I would go after them. If not, I wouldn't. And then you have home services. So this is the market where I would choose. This is the niche that I would go after, mainly because, and there's 2 things that we're going to list in here, is the people, the types of people, the size of these businesses, and also the fact that they aren't very tech savvy. They don't really understand the market. Okay, so this is the people that we're going to go for. Now, when we're deciding and when we're taking a look at breaking down, okay, why home service? We're going to look at 2 factors. The first thing we're going to look at is leverage. And the second thing we're going to look after is, okay, those are the 2 things that we're going to look after. We're going to look at the leverage, okay, and the size of the businesses that are in this market. Now, the first thing that we're going to look at is leverage. I'm going to compare side by side a home service. So let's take a look at a roofer, for example, okay? We're going to do a roofer, and then we're going to compare it to a med spa. Now, a roofer typically has about a $20,000 average cost for a job, okay? It's going to be $20,000 for a single job. Now, when we're looking at what we want to charge these people and the cost, we're going to be charging around $2,000 every single month for our retainer. That's what we're going to be taking. And we are going to be charging them another $3,000 for the ads. So in total, our cost, whether we're looking at roofers or med spas or whatever, is going to be $5,000 per month on our client side. It doesn't matter that the $3,000 a month is going to Facebook. That is the cost for them to work with us. So what we need to do is we need to achieve a positive ROI on this investment, and the higher the better, right? I would say at minimum 2 to 3x ROI. So let's do a 2 to 3x ROI at minimum, at least for these guys. So in order to achieve a 2x ROI, 2 to 3x ROI minimum, how many roofing jobs would we need to do that? Okay. If we get one roofing job at $20,000 every single month, they're getting a 4x ROI on their investment with us. Now, let's say we had a med spa client and we needed to do the same thing. We needed to get them a 4x ROI. If we calculate, if we needed to get them $20,000 of business and their service is at that very, very high end is $500, okay? This is like a high ticket service for med spas. Usually you're looking at like $200 to $300. For a $500 service, we need to literally get them 40 jobs, okay? Compared to the one job in home service in order to achieve this 4x ROI, okay? So this is the difference between leverage when choosing your niche and why home services, and this is gonna be the first point that I make, is to achieve the same result, which you'd be looking at an exceptional result if you're able to get them a 4x return on investment. They will stay with you pretty much forever if you're able to continuously do that and do that across multiple different clients. If you're able to do that for a roofer, it only requires you to get them one job, okay? And if you want to do that for a med spa, it's going to be 40 jobs. Now, there's another thing you need to keep in mind here in terms of looking at leverage. For roofers, what's happening is when we're taking a look at leverage is you are booking an in-person estimates. So you're booking in-person consultations, which means if you book in an appointment for a roofer, there is a 100% show rate, 100% show rate. In med spas, since the person has to come into the med spa, you have to make sure that they're showing up. There's a lot of pain and hassle in doing that. You'll have to collect credit cards on files. You'll have to pay $25 deposits to make sure that the person is showing up. So it's just gonna be a huge, huge hassle. And this number could go anywhere down from like, you could get a good show rate could be 50% to even 75%, which is it's just such a pain. It's low leverage. It's a low leverage task. It's a lot harder to get somebody to actually show up to one of your bookings. So your lead flow and the amount of value that they're going to be seeing up front and the traffic coming through is going to seem a lot less. So that's the first thing that we looked at. We looked at leverage and the comparison of how much harder it would be to do that for a service that's $500 versus $20,000. Now let's look at the size of the businesses. Most of these home service guys, roofers, HVAC guys, technicians, etc., you're looking at businesses on average that are doing 1 million to 10 million a year. Home services, okay? So you're looking at 1 million to 10 million a year. If you go over to a home service company and you tell them, hey, you pay me $5,000 a month, I'll bring you at least, and we're aiming for a 4x return on investment, $20,000, or for one job, $20,000 at minimum every single month. And then obviously you could do a lot more. You could give them 100, 200, 300,000. This $5,000 isn't going to seem like a lot to them. And neither is the amount of jobs that you're bringing. So for example, like I'm saying, at least bring them one job. Our guarantee is 50 estimates every single month for these businesses that we're targeting. That's going to stack, and the amount of businesses that you're going to attract at the higher level is going to allow you to increase this retainer of $2,000 per month to even $5,000 per month, $10,000 per month, okay? So the size of the businesses and the investment, the initial investment is gonna be much easier compared to, for example, med spas, where at the beginning, now I'm not gonna say this is average, but at the beginning, you're looking at businesses that are doing around 10K a month to 30K a month, okay? So a med spa that would be considered doing a lot of money is like 50K per month. Like that would be considered a decent sized med spa. And then past that, like 100, 150K a month, 200K a month, you're looking at multi-location med spas. So it's just super small sized businesses. And this is just an example of the leverage that you have when you're picking your niche of the same amount of work targeting somebody else could be delivering 10 times the results. Like if you did the same results and the same work for a roofer that you're doing for a med spa client, your roofing client could be 10 times happier than your med spa client, okay? And that's gonna go a long way. It's gonna go a long way. So this is something to keep in mind. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt because this was just an example of roofing versus med spa. There's higher ticket services in med spa. Like I've seen people who target med spas that go after $3,000, $4,000 services. But it's just a matter of leverage. No matter who you speak to, if they are in a low leverage niche, they have a certain bottleneck. They have a capping point to where they can't scale past that because of the fulfillment.